Hello. Hello, everyone. Well, first, it's so nice of you to be here, but I wanted to tell you something. That is the last Masterclass, which is going to happen here for the next 4 years, because as you might know, the Cinematheque is going to undergo some refurbishment. So please be aware that it's the last time you'll be here for quite a while, around 4 years. But we are going to end it with a wonderful person, a great actor. You know who he is. We are going to talk about his career, so you'll know even more in a few moments. He's amazing. He's been working with many wonderful directors. And what we're going to do immediately is to watch a small clip to refresh our memories on his filmography. And the man we are going to see is, you know him, Tim Roth. But before he comes, a clip.
Der anterobasale Durchmesser 19 cm.
The anterior-posterior diameter 19 centimeters.
Die Länge des Gesichts 12.
The height of the face 12 centimeters.
Look, what is the point of Paris? What is the whole point of Paris? It's to talk to people, it's to meet people, it's to talk to other artists.
I think you'd better go to bed.
And don't you tell me there's no market for my work. It's your job to make a market. If you can sell Toro, you can damn well sell me.
You drink too much. You shouldn't drink with a baby.
Well, that is parenthood. You should try it.
No thanks. Jessie will get there first, alright, she's going.
Now, what's that supposed to mean?
Take off your clothes.
Take off your clothes. Honey.
Take off your clothes, honey.
After tonight, I cannot hope for deliverance from the pain of my own desires. So, may I suggest? My room's at 10?
Alas, monsieur. 10 o'clock, I have an even more attractive offer. Her Majesty has asked me to delouse her spaniel.
Did you let him in? Did you let him in?
You guess what I got? Is that it?
Come on, Josh. Don't you fucking hit him!
Get out of my house. Get out of my house, or I swear to you, you get belt. Get out of my house. Get out of my house. Get out of my house. You fucking man. Get out of my house. Out of my
Fucking
house.
kill you! You fucking lay a hand on me!
Get out. Get out! I said! Murderer!
If you're found guilty, the people of Red Rock will hang you in the town square. And as the hangman, I will perform the execution. And if all those things end up taking place, that's what civilized society calls justice.
A lot of people come to restaurants.
A lot of walnuts.
Pretty smart, huh?
Pretty smart. I'm ready. Let's do it right now, right here. Come on.
Right. Same as last time, remember? Your crowd control. I handle employees.
I love you, pumpkin.
I love you, honey bunny.
Everybody be cool, this is a robbery!
Any of you fucking pricks move! And I'll execute every motherfucking last one of you!
Please welcome Mr. Tim Roth here. He's here. Tim, please.
Hiya. Is this on? Can you hear me? Yeah, you are.
So you said yesterday that you were very surprised by some of these films you had forgotten all about.
Yeah, I was trying to work out what they were. So I was looking at the thing where it tells you what they were, because I couldn't. There's been quite a few. So hello. Hi. Bonjour. Okay.
So tell me about one of your first experience. If I tell you Dracula, what would you say?
Oh, you mean the play?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I went to a very rough school, and I was, most of the time I would sign in and then jump over the wall, and me and a friend would go into the West End of London, and we would hide from the police and from the truancy officers, which were a thing back then. And so we were never really at school. But when I left school at 16 and went to a weird little college where they tried to get your grades up, and it didn't work. So they sent me back to school, and my school had changed when they sent me back. And it was this weird comprehensive school, mixture of girls and boys, which was different back then. And so suddenly I was interested. All the bullies had left, and they'd gone to join the police force or go to prison. And so it was an interesting place to be. And me and a friend of mine used to write film scripts and plays at school. And during, let me know if I'm going on too long, because I will do that. We became obsessed with Waiting for Godot, with the Beckett play. And so we became these characters, we thought, which was basically just annoying all of the teachers at school. And one of the gags that we thought was funny was to go and audition for a school play. And so, because they were auditioning for some crazy play, which was a musical of Dracula called Dracula Spectacular. Brilliant piece. And so we went in and we auditioned for it, and it backfired for me. I got the part. So now I had to fucking play it. And which meant singing and dancing in front of all of the bullies that remained. And that was my first experience of theatre critics. I got the shit kicked out of me on a regular basis, but I fell in love with it. And it was a total rip-off. All I was doing was pretending I was Tim Curry from Rocky Horror Picture Show. That's all I did. I was a very small, fat child. And but this woman who ran the drama department there, which I'd never been a part of, she saw something in me that she was worried about me. She thought, and I asked her this years later, and she said, I was worried about you, so I brought you in. And she started the process with me, and she told me what auditioning was. She took me to little community theaters that happened after school to keep kids off the street. And I started doing plays. I started doing classes there. I started doing plays. And we had a thing called pub theatre, where above pubs there were little theatres and you could do really interesting plays. And so I was drawn into that world. In the meantime, I went to art college, and I got thrown out of art college because I was never there. I was always doing plays. And so it began, and that was the beginning of the journey. So I started, and I still have a picture of myself as Dracula, but the all singing, all dancing Dracula that I was. And by the way, my voice hadn't broken at that point, and I was already 16, so it was really difficult.
Yeah, you can find this picture on the internet.
Oh yeah, I think I've put it out there, yeah.
It's great. And then came your audition with Alan Clark. It was a very special edition, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so I've told this story. But no, so what happened was I was kicked out of art school. It's a really good art school called Camberwell Art School in London, very, very good. And I was thrown out. They sat me down and they said, you're taking the piss, leave and see if you can be an actor. And if it doesn't work out, come back. So I came back in, I went out and basically I went to the dole office to sign on welfare, and they asked me what I was, and I said, I'm an actor. So they put that in at the Social Security. So that was me officially calling myself an actor. And then I went about the business of trying to figure out how to do it. And one of the things I quickly realized was that you need to be able to pay the rent. So I got a job. What they would do back in those days was, you get spam now on your phone. Well, you would be on the other end of a phone, and you'd have a list of numbers, and you call people who didn't want to be called, and you try and sell them advertising. So I was a spam guy. And that took place, and there was all these, I remember there were out of work opera singers, actors and all that in the room, and it was kind of interesting actually. But I used to have to cycle across London. That was in the West End, and I lived in South London. I used to have to cycle at night, and it was raining, and I was cycling home, and I got a flat tire on my bike. And I called in a theatre, a little community theatre, one of those ones that woman had taken me to. I'd done plays at, and to get a bicycle pump, and they didn't have one. But they told me about this audition that was taking place for people who had never been in front of a camera before. There was this film that they were looking at unknowns for, which was called Made in Britain. And that was to be directed by Alan Clark, who was a phenomenal, he was part of the change in British cinema and
Yeah, he had done
television.
Scum before.
He did Scum. Yeah, Scum was one of the reasons I wanted to be an actor as well. He'd done it for television, and then the BBC had banned it themselves, so he redid it as a film. And that was part of the reason why I thought it was possible for working class people to become actors. And so anyway, they told me about this thing that was happening, and I went along, and I ended up, because I played a trick on the director and the producers, I ended up getting the job as this, and it was the lead in a television film at the beginning of Steadicam, so you had long sequences, and I landed right on my feet. And the one thing, that job led to Mike Leigh and getting a film with Mike Leigh, and then that one led to Stephen Frears. So I had 1, 2, 3, and I was very, very lucky.
And you'll see, he did a wonderful job in Made in Britain, and we've got a clip. Si
oh, shit.
Yeah, you won't avoid it. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, this one I like.
Si on pouvait avoir Made in England, ce serait merveilleux. Merci.
Uh-oh.
You want to see it? Oh, that's you.
That's me. That's ugly. Where's the other one?
bad.
Where's the good-looking version?
Come through, William.
Interesting clip.
Love that frog.
Where is it? Where'd you put it? What? The bloody car, Trevor, the car. I'll give you lots of these and the ship walks back to Zulu now. Where is it? He's parking at Broadway Lane. Where's lunch? Why'd you take it? To get back to lunch. You're giving money for a bus. Well, come on, instead. You're not getting clever, you know. When do I get lunch? You don't. You'll miss lunch, it's too late. You will. Next time I'm down the courtroom so fast you won't know what happened. Ready? It's your last chance. Get out. You had your lunch? I am. Wait. Wait. On my lunch. Hey! I want my lunch! Do you mind? There's no lunch. You know there's no lunch. We don't serve lunch at 3 in the afternoon. He's got his in there, he's got it. The dining room's closed.
So, considering it was your first film, where do you find that? How do you get there, and where do you find this kind of raw energy?
I think that was day one.
So you were really like that?
No. Actually, the shots that the early part of that sequence were my first time in front of a camera ever. In that sequence you just showed, And we had Steadicam for the first time. It was brand new, and Chris Menge's on Steadicam as the operator, so it helped. I was beaten up by those guys. So, and the fascist thing was on the rise at that point in Britain with the National Front and the British movement. Now it's UKIP reform, but it was the same thing. And so I knew them. And I knew there was when you're a bullied kid, that you have to have eyes in the back of your head. You have to know what to look for. You have to know what the signals are and stuff. So when I read it, even more than the writer, David Leland, I knew this guy. But there were elements that were missing in my education of it. I went to a few fascist meetings. I went to the British movement meetings, a few of those things. But basically, I went to the white kids that I went to school with were kind of like that. So the job then became to portray them accurately and to do them justice in a sense. What's interesting about this character, and as the film develops, is he's incredibly articulate, which is not how the middle classes portrayed people like this in film. They got it wrong. What this guy had was an intellect, an IQ, and a sense of humor, all of which were incredibly dangerous when applied to a fascist. And so that was what was interesting to me about making him come to life. And also, with Alan Clark, the way that he chose to shoot things was fascinating. It was long developing shots, which I thought was normal. So when I left and went to work with Mike Lee and with a more traditional way of shooting things, not constructing things, but certainly shooting things, I was surprised that it was taking so fucking long, you know.
But he was doing a lot of improv, Mike Lee, was he?
Mike Lee, there's no script. It's improvised from top to bottom. So I basically went from something like this, which was unheard of at that time, with the exception of maybe Ken Loach and Alan Clark, a character like this and a chance to play around with that, to a fully improvised script, where you don't know if you're the leading player or an extra in it, and I landed as the leading character, one of them, and then from that, because of this film, Joe Strummer from The Clash was going to do a film called The Hit, and he couldn't do it, so he said, "Get that fucking skinhead in," and I got that. So one thing led to another.
And you learned how to drive, if I remember correctly.
No. I had to play the driver in The Hit, and I couldn't drive.
And you had a lot of problem with that.
Yeah, I almost killed John Hurt. So I had to play the driver. None of us had a car. We didn't grow up with that. And so they had to try and teach me how to drive. I'd never been out of the country. I'd never been abroad. So they put me on an aeroplane with John Hurt, who was kind of a bit of a hero, and sent me over to Spain. And we did this film that goes through the countryside in Spain it's a thriller. And it's a fun one. So I had John Hurt and Terence Stamp in the back of the car, and I was the driver guy, and couldn't really drive. And so I would do a bit of driving in straight lines, but they did have a double. And at one point, we did a scene where we're up by some windmills, top of a mountainside in Spain somewhere. And the job was drive up, get out, have a piss, do a bit of a scene with Terry and John, get back in the car, drive off, stop the fucking car, get out, they reposition it, and do another take. So we did a few takes, and after one take, we're pulling away, and Terence Stamp says to me, "You're doing fucking great, Tim, doing really great. It's just, you can pull it back on its marks, put it back on its marks." I went, "Okay, gonna do that." So drove around the windmills, came back around to line it up, got it perfectly on its marks, put my foot on the accelerator instead of the brake, drove straight into the camera, which was on the dolly. The camera went flying, the dolly went over, went straight over the side of the mountain, and I'm going down the mountain like this, with John Hurt and Terence Stamp crying with laughter in the back of the fucking car. And I get to the bottom, and it all goes very, very quiet. And then it's all quiet, and I went, I'll never work again. They cry with laughter. The producer opens the fucking thing. He's laughing his ass off. And everyone signs the car and has pictures taken. The entire crew. And I almost killed John Hurt and Terence Stamp. So that is my introduction to cinema. It was a lot of fun.
So what do you think today of the expression the Brit pack? Does it still mean something to you?
I thought it was daft. I thought it was really silly. They did the Brat Pack, right, in America. So I thought it was incredibly lazy journalism to do.
I wasn't born, so that's not me.
You weren't involved, right? Yeah. So I thought it was but what it basically was there was a tradition in Britain that posh people were actors, or if you were a working class person and became an actor, you had to learn how to be posh and pretend to be posh. And so the parts that would be played, working class parts were played by, kids that went to Eton. That was a tradition. It wasn't always the case, but it was something that did take place. And therefore, when they were doing a film about our kinds of backgrounds, they were played by people who had no understanding of what we were. That was just how it was done. So that changed. The back of that was broken. And so there were these actors that were coming up. And because of this, I ended up being one of them. But so the Brit Pack thing was shortly after the Brat Pack thing. And it was myself and Paul McGann and Gary Oldman. And then they had the other ones with Colin Firth and all that, which is all fair enough. But it was a different thing. They were trying to promote a different kind of thing. They could see there was money in it, and they were going after it. So, but I always thought it was a bit silly.
Yeah, sure.
But the pictures were nice.
No, yeah.
And we were on cool magazine covers, and we thought we were happening. So,
so I'm really curious. I found out while researching that you work with Tupac.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about that? That's surprising.
Yeah. So Tupac, I did this again. It was that thing that I love to do, which is doing little independent films with new filmmakers. It's constantly what I'm always looking for. I do bigger, fancier jobs, which quite often aren't very good, but they pay. So, and they pay for the little ones, the little love poems that I want to be involved in. So there was this film that was going to be done. Lawrence Fishburne was going to do it. There was this young director, very new, very interesting director. So it's about the drug thing and the HIV thing and all of that stuff actually in Detroit, but we shot it in LA. And Lawrence Fishburne dropped out, and he was really a big part of the reason why I wanted to do it. And he dropped out, and so then the director came to me and said, "There's this rapper," and I went, "No, not." He said, "No, bear with me." I said, "Nope, I'm done." And I was such an arsehole. Anyway, I didn't know anything about anything, right? So there was this guy that was on billboards all over LA as double platinum who was quietly being ripped off by Suge Knight. Anyway, there was this guy, this beautiful guy. And so the director persuaded me to have a meeting with this fella. So I went to this quite fancy pants bullshit restaurant that I liked in LA, which had a garden at the back. And I'm sitting there with the director, and the back of the restaurant has been sectioned off. In walks about 4 bodyguard types really straight up stereotype bodyguard types. Come in, do a sweep, and leave. Then there's a lovely, healthy pause. Then in come about 4 or 5 women, and they go to a table that's been placed over in the corner, like that. And then there's another healthy pause. And then in walks 2 guys, standing in the doorway there. And then in walks Puck, right? And he comes over, he's laughing his head off. And he comes and he sits down, and I have all of this loaded, this fucking guy's not an actor and all this bullshit. Knocked that away in the first second. He was an actor before he was a rapper. I didn't know anything about that. He went to the school where Fame was from, that show from way back when. He sat down and started talking character with me. By the end of the first sort of 5 minutes, I was like, fuck, where's this guy been? And we connected from that moment on. And then whatever is good about the film, I mean, I haven't seen it in years, but what I loved about it was the rapport that me and him had. And we would improvise and play around and be back and forth. So I was due, this was the film before the last film that he made. And I was due to see him. We would stayed in touch all the time. This is before the constant texting monster. And so he called me, he said, I'm coming in. He was in Vegas, he went to see the fight. And we were going to do ADR, we were going to do post-sync together. And we couldn't wait to see each other. We were laughing our asses off. We put the phone down. Next thing I knew, he's in surgery. So I got to spend a great deal of time with him under a very strange set of circumstances. And I loved him. And I remember when we went to, I think it was Sundance or Telluride with the movie. I think it was Sundance, and we had to put a hat around for his funeral because they didn't have any money, and he was double platinum at the time. It was a really weird thing, but we had a great time together. I loved him, and he was a comedic genius. He was very, very clever. His timing was immaculate, way better than mine, that's for sure. Yeah, so there you go.
Yeah, you talk about...
I do ramble, so get ready. We'll be here tomorrow.
Good. We have all the time in the world. So, you talk about big project. I'm very curious about Planet of the Apes and Charlton Heston.
Oh, yeah.
I would have loved to be a little mice and see you with Charlton Heston, to be honest.
Well, again, I did that just for my kids. I thought it'd be really funny and a bit embarrassing for the kids if their dad was a chimpanzee. I thought it would be funny at school. For me, not for them.
Yeah, you wanted them to be bullied the way you were.
No, totally, yeah. So I did the monkey movie, as I call it. And so it was a weird one. I was because I was sort of politically whatever, Charlton Heston was in it, and he was the president of the NRA. Issues. So I was always against it and moaning and whinging about it, and Tim Burton was always having to deal with me and all of that. And it was weird. And then come the day, he didn't know. What was funny is me and a couple of the guys, Paul Giamatti, who's an orangutan, and I'm a chimpanzee, and we'd be sitting out having a cigarette or a cup of tea. And in would walk Charlton, and he would have no idea what was going on because there were these apes sitting there. And we're just looking at him deadpan, thinking that we were cool. And he swung by, and there he was. And eventually I had to do, I'm not sure, but I think that they were his last ever scenes. Yeah. And he had Alzheimer's at that time, I think. So it was very difficult. You had to do the makeup thing like we all did. And it was a scene where he's laying on his deathbed or something, and I had to do some dialogue. And it quickly came about that he couldn't keep the lines in his head. And so his last cinematic moments, I think, are the last ones. I'm sitting off camera, and I'm saying the lines to him, and he's repeating them back. And then I would say his next line, and he would repeat. And that was how, that was the end of an era of extraordinary work that I got. I couldn't separate the political from the actual cinema. I learned that later. Put that aside and watch the fucking movies, you know. But he was extraordinary, you know.
So now we're going to see another clip.
Uh-oh.
From a movie you haven't done for your kids, or at least I hope so. It's called Funny Games.
Shit, yeah.
And I tried to find a soft part in it. Well, as
There
soft
isn't
as
one.
I could. And please, Funny Games.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
That guy again.
It's that guy down there. So funny.
Funny Games are great comedy.
Just laugh a minute.
What's going on in your bedroom here, Mr. Farber? That's your name, isn't it, Farber? Yeah, Fred, Mr. Thompson told us.
Oh, what's going on here?
Your wife is under the wrong impression. I'm happy that you're here because I'm certain that you can help us figure out this misunderstanding.
George, please. I can't. Just go. Please.
Hey.
It's ridiculous. I can't believe this. Honey.
No, he's fine. He's fine. Please explain what happened, please.
Mrs. Thompson sent me over to ask for some eggs. And
Your wife gave Peter the eggs, but unfortunately they broke.
then she gave me another 4 eggs, but the dog jumped on me. Now, you had a dozen. You're going shopping on Monday anyway. We just want the eggs, that's all. Can you tell me what's going on here?
Honey, can you just tell me what's going on?
Let's get into him.
Can I have them?
Hold on a moment. And if it's just about some eggs, why are you so angry? I'm not going to justify myself in front. I asked you to throw them out. Maybe I have my reasons. Do what you want. I've had enough.
Anne. I'm sorry. My wife's not feeling well, so... Yeah. Could you please leave? I can hardly play mediator if I don't know the facts. Now, can I? So, could you just leave, please?
Please.
What?
Just give them to him.
What the hell is going on
What's
here?
going on, sir? He asked for the eggs, the dog attacked him, they broke. Now he would like some more. What is so difficult to understand?
You better watch your tongue, young man.
You better be careful, old man, or I'll break your eggs.
Now, please leave. Right now.
Mr. Barber.
What?
Is it broken? Hey, come on. Hey, come on. Behave yourself. Behave yourself, okay? Okay? I don't want to hurt you. You have to behave yourself. Please, just, ma'am, stay where you are, okay?
Please stay.
You slapped me in the face. Yeah, you started it. You can help him, just don't do anything stupid. Help him. Bring him a chair. You should take off his pants. You should sit down. You should bring him a chair. Peter is he's a medical student. He can help you with it.
Can you please take off your pants? If you don't let me see your wound, I can't help you. I'm sorry I hurt you, but you forced me to, you must admit.
Come on, Mr. Barber, be reasonable. Let him look at your leg. He can help you with it.
Please. Leave. Please. I don't get any more like this.
You have to let him help you. You don't really have a choice. You're the ship's captain, So you're aware that on board the captain's word is law, aren't you? So what do you want to do? You want to call someone? An ambulance or the police? I won't stop you. Neither will Tom. Right, Tom? Well, what are you waiting for?
Drop the cell phone in the sink.
Why are you doing this? Why not?
Great film. And there is Brady Corbett.
Yes.
Yeah, one of the young guys is Brady Corbett, the director from The Brutalist. And that was an incredible. It's a great film, traumatizing, and also an incredible experience. Can you explain to the audience why?
It's a strange one. Yeah, I haven't seen that since. And that boy was the reason it was very difficult for me as well, because he looks exactly like my eldest son in America. I mean, and was of the same age at that time. So I was watching it happen to somebody who could very easily, was identical to my son. It's very difficult. But on the other hand, we were laughing our asses off the whole time. So Naomi Watts is one of the funniest people you'll ever meet. But I turned it down when they sent it to me. I didn't see, Michael had made it, and I didn't see what the point was. I passed on it. And then my agent said, you need to watch this film. And I sat and I watched it and went, absolutely, I'm in 100%. And what Michael had always wanted to do was make it as an American piece, about American society and about American culture, and as an American film, as a kind of commentary as far as that was concerned. So, and he couldn't afford it, couldn't get it done, so he did it in German. And now was the chance for him to actually make it how he had originally intended it to be. So he started the process, but I think the most difficult thing that we went through when we were doing this, apart from the emotional side of things, it was all shot in sequence, was we were doing it shot for shot as he had already made it in German. So every single frame, all the pauses and the timing had to, at least from the beginning of one shot to the end of that same shot, had to match. And including the timing of camera moves, your performance off camera, there was no switching off or going into a sort of second gear. You always had to be fully engaged off camera and on camera the entire time. It was a very, very difficult film to perform in. That being said, it was fascinating. And Michael, as difficult as we were finding it, Haneke was finding it much more so, and having to deal with the actors and so on. As much as we were crying, and those tears are real quite often in the film, I found myself, we shot it in New York in the studio, I found myself walking up and down outside the soundstage with Michael Haneke crying on my shoulder and trying not to laugh because I'm a evil human. But yeah, I mean, it was just emotionally devastating for him. But on the other hand, he did get his film made, and I think I've seen it. I'm not sure, but people were either offended because he'd remade something, or they went with it. It was 50-50 all the way.
I think it's amazing because even if you know the ending and you've seen the first one, it still works.
Yeah, definitely.
It's so painful and so intense that it still works.
Yeah, and you're trying to decipher what the film is as you're going, because it's so it's of another planet. It's a very strange story. Yeah, and then Brady's up there doing his thing.
So you've been working with so many directors. What do you expect from them? Is there something you really expect from a director?
A little compassion.
Oh, so that's impossible.
It's impossible.
No, I was meaning something realistic.
Nothing. I don't come to it. Let's switch. Yeah. So now you get it.
Oh, okay.
So I've got my back to you people now. I always do that. Fred Astaire. Whoa, interesting. John Wayne?
We are trying to hide it from you.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah, directors.
Sorry.
Come back, please.
Wait. Oh, yes, directors. I don't know. I mean, I really don't. I think I get involved in that kind of theory after the fact. I think I come with no expectations and no. I'm not a certain amount of efficiency, but I've worked with really inefficient directors and had a great time. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't have any. I don't have any. Except when you go to work with somebody who has a huge history, a huge backlog, I have expectations in my head that they often don't live up to, but sometimes do. And I've worked with. I did a very obscure little film with Werner Herzog, for example. I love Werner's movies and always have. And we did a weird little one, but there were times when we made it where he lived up to every expectation that I had of him.
And you must have a lot, because he's so crazy.
It was absolutely fantastic. It was incredibly difficult and extremely fulfilling at the same time. Yeah, I love that. So yeah, he was one that lived up to.
What about David Lynch? Because you're talking to big Twin Peaks fan.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, he just gave me a call and I said, "Yep, not a problem." But the funny thing was that there were a couple of things which we talked about. Was I was a huge fan, and I'd seen them. I'd seen a lot of his films as they were meant to be seen, in the cinema, projected with strangers. Really, really interesting. Kind of what they do here. A group of strangers sharing an experience, and quite often a very different one. And so, when I get the call to be in his film, I was like, what time? When do you want me? Not a problem. But he had cast myself and Jennifer Jason Leigh together in this Twin Peaks thing that he was doing. And he was unaware that we had just got through Hateful Eight. He had no idea. He just thought we'd go well together. So we rocked up, and it was like we just left Quentin's set, and now we were on David's. I mean, I don't know if there were years in between. There probably were. And he thought it was really funny when we told him that later during the shoot. But he was an extraordinarily fascinating director to watch. So I like taking pictures, so I would watch and take pictures of him throughout, and then put my camera down and then go to work. And one of the best notes, directions that I had came from him, I've had as an actor, came from him. There was a thing where I'm getting shot to pieces in the back of a van. Spoiler alert. David Lynch. So just before, and I had all these squibs on me, and squibs are in the van, and it's like, oh, it could get a bit dangerous, to say the least. But he opens the back door of the van, and his note to me before we did the scene was, think ragdoll Elvis. I was like, what the fuck did he just say? And I went, oh. And then, sure enough, we started the car, did some driving, did some silly acting, and then all hell breaks loose, and Ragdoll Elvis came into service. And he was very happy, and we did it in one take, and I went home. A lot of fun. And David, I have some lovely pictures of him getting his hair cut and having a shave on set and doing that stuff. Loved him to bits. Top man.
So, of course, that was exceptional, but you worked for TV and movies. Is it different to work for TV, like for Lie to Me? And in which way is it different?
I mean, I'd done TV in Britain. In Britain, there was never a snobbery. You did plays, you did TV, you did films. It was what it was. You worked. It was fear of unemployment that drove
that
you.
I can understand.
Yeah, which I think is.
You still have that?
I always have fear of unemployment, and I think it's very healthy. So, but yeah, doing TV in America at the time when I did TV, and it was still kind of called TV. Then was I did this thing, Lie to Me, and I did it because I had college fees to pay. So you got to do rent or mortgage, college fees, so that the kids don't have student debt, student loan shit, because it's such a crap system. And I knew people who had it in their 50s. It's absolutely bonkers. So I thought, well, I'll nail that. So they beautifully timed out. They came to me and asked me to do this thing, and I went, yep. But at that time, people who were in film, they occasionally did stage, but they just stuck to film. This is in America. They never went to TV. That was frowned upon. But behind the scenes, when I did it and the word got out that I was doing it, I was getting these phone calls from actor types, like quite well-known actor types going, what's it like? And I go, it's shit. I go, no. I say, it's great. I get to go home after work. It's fantastic. And so on and so forth. But literally, when people come to the house to talk to me about it and all of that thing, coming into the studios, to the set, to talk again, what's it feel like? And it was a change. There was a time when that changed, when it was, and it's before all the streamer thing. So we were still doing it at the studios. It was going out once a week, and I didn't watch it as usual. So my kids would come down into the kitchen when they'd watched the show of a Wednesday night or whenever it was on, and give me my reviews. And honestly, they would give me my reviews.
That's news for you. Yeah,
I know. So you come. I go. So how was I tonight? And I go. And then sometimes, but that was about it, And the rest of it, and the only other people that give me my reviews, because I don't read good or bad ever, or any articles or any interviews or anything. I just have a forbidden on that, so people can write whatever they want in my brain. But the only other people I get my reviews for are the people that work at the checkouts at the supermarket where I do my grocery shopping. There's a woman at the dry cleaners that I like. She gives me, and it can be a bit tricky. And anytime you get into a taxi, everyone's got a lot to say in a taxi. So, and those are the critics that I pay attention to.
I read somewhere that you have stage fright. Do you have it in front of the camera, or is it just for, when you do theater, and why? I always had, it's only theater, and it's always been there, but it increased as opposed to decreasing. Over the years, it actually increased. So I came to a point, in London, I was doing a play that was very successful. It was very weird. It was Stephen Berkoff's adaptation of the Gregor Samsa metamorphosis thing. I was playing the insect. And it was a lot of fun, actually. But, David Bowie would rock up. And all the London villains would come and see it, and Bob Hoskins and people like that. It was very strange. And when that finished, I think shortly I went off to make something. I can't remember what the dates were, but I decided to call it quits. It was way too much for me, and so that happened. And then I didn't do another play until. I'm trying to think. I was doing a Wim Wenders movie, and Sam Shepard had tried to get me to do a play in New York, and I said yes and then said no, and I can't remember who did it. John Turturro, I think, took it over, someone like that.
And then he was doing the Wim Wenders movie with me, and he trapped me in a hotel lobby, and made me say yes. So I did a play in New York at the Actors Studio for him, and that's it. I haven't done any since. I'm tempted though. I am definitely tempted. But film fright, not a problem. And I think because I was trained by Alan Clark, I just don't have any fear of it at all. I enjoy that space. I've worked with actors. Cillian Murphy was one who had film fright, but I think he's broken the back of it now. But he had it, no stage fright at all, but he had film fright, which I'd never heard of until I talked to him about it. And I think it's kind of great that it can go in all directions, that stuff. You have to just get through it. But it was terrifying.
Where do you fit directing into that? And why didn't you do it again? Because Warzone was amazing, quite traumatizing also.
I think I just, I've been told by directors that I had annoyed for a very long time on their film sets. Why don't you direct? So I was like, all right, well, yeah. So I thought, well, I'll give it a shot. And I did it. And I chose a subject. Actually, it chose me. Somebody dropped a book on my table at a restaurant and said, you should do this. But it happened to be a subject that was very difficult for me because I was an abused kid, hastened to add, not by my parents. So it was a subject that I knew. And so I thought, well, I can handle that, and dealt with it. But I got it out of my system in one film and I'm done. So that's it.
Really?
Yeah, and I think Gary Oldman was the same, because he did one about his child in a way.
Lil by Mouth.
Yeah, and so I think we just called it. But it was an interesting experience. I loved it. I loved it. But it was I like the acting game.
Yeah, did directing other actors help you in your own acting afterwards?
I don't know. I mean, yes, I suppose so, because you're watching what other people, and you're talking to those people about what they're going through at any given moment. But I don't know. I think would be the honest answer to that. I don't know. Yeah.
So let's see a clip. I know you love saying.
Oh no,
clip.
I don't want to see the war. Is it from the war zone?
No.
It's not from the war zone.
No. Don't worry. No. I try to make it pleasant. So let's see the opening of Pulp Fiction. I think we can't avoid that. Oh yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Pumpkin. We have to say it. Alors, si on pouvait avoir l'ouverture de Pulp Fiction, s'il vous plaît.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Oh, him again.
It's with
you're closer to him now.
Oh, no, I want to see her. Oh, no, that way. I think.
Again, it's too risky.
You always say that, the same thing every time. Cut through, never again, too dangerous.
Oh, that's what I was saying. I was right, too.
But you forget about it in a day or two.
Yeah, well, the days of me forgetting are over. The days of me remembering have just begun.
You know when you go on like this, what you sound like?
I sound like a sensible fucking man. That's what I sound like. Yeah, well, take that up, because you're never going to have to do it again. Since I'm never going to do it again, you're never going to have to be quack that I'm never going to do it.
After tonight.
Correct. I'll also have to quack.
Can I get anyone more coffee? Oh, yes.
I can't see her.
I mean, the way it is now, take the same risk as when you rob a bank. Take more risks. Banks are easier. Federal banks ain't supposed to stop you in any way during a robbery. I mean, sure, my state of the fuck. Don't need to go in the federal bank. Now, that is one way. He walks out of the bank and a portable fund. He gives the fund to the teller. But on the other end of the phone says, we got this guy's little girl. You don't give him all your money. We're going to kill her.
Did it work?
Fucking right, but that's what I'm talking about. Enough late walks into a bank with a telephone. Not a pistol, not a shotgun, a fucking phone. Cleans the place out, they don't even lift a fucking finger.
Did they hurt the little girl?
I don't know, there probably never was a little girl in the first place. But the point of the story isn't a little girl, the point of the story is they robbed a bank with a telephone.
You want to rob a bank?
I'm not saying I want to rob banks, I'm just illustrating that if we did it easier, what could we do it?
And then no liquor stores?
What have we been talking about? Yeah, no more liquor stores. Something you never get used to. There's too many foreigners at liquor stores. Vietnamese, Koreans, Italians, be fucking English. You tell them empty out the register, they don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And it's too personal. We keep no one who's good fuck, who's going to make us kill her.
I'm not going to kill anybody.
I don't want to kill anybody either. But it probably puts us in a situation where it's us or them. And if it's not the goods, it's these old fucking Jews who've owned the store for 15 fucking generations. You've got Grandpa Irving sitting behind the counter with a fucking Magnum in his hand.
Try walking in one of those places, nothing but fun. See how far that gets you. Fuck it, forget it. We're out.
D'accord, tu me fais signe quand c'est...
Garçon, coffee! Nice.
Garçon means boy. This place, a coffee shop.
What's wrong with that? Nobody ever robs restaurants. Why not? Bars, liquor stores, gas stations. You get your head blown off sticking on one of them. Restaurants, on the other hand, you catch with their pants down. They're not expecting to get robbed. Not as expected anyway.
I bet you could cut down on the hero factor in a place like this.
Correct. Same as banks, these places are insured. Manager, you don't give a fuck. He's just trying to get you out the door before you start plugging the diners. Waitresses, fucking forget. No way they're taking a bullet for the register. Busboys, some wetback, getting paid $1.50 an hour. Really give a fuck you're stealing from the owner? Customers sitting there with food in their mouths, they don't know what's going on. 1 minute they're having a Denver omelette, next minute someone's sticking a gun in their face. See, I got the idea. Last liquor store we stuck up, remember? All the customers kept coming in.
Yeah.
You got the idea, taking their wallets. Now that was a good idea.
Thank you.
Made more from the wallets than we did from the register.
Yes, we did.
A lot of people come to restaurants.
A lot of foreigners.
Pretty smart, huh?
Pretty smart. I'm ready. Let's do it right now, right here. Come on.
Right. Same as last time, remember? You crowd control. I hand employees. I'll give anybody.
Everybody be cool, this is a robbery! You fucking pricks, move! And I'll execute every motherfucking last one of you!
That's pure movie history, really. That's incredible. And you were laughing, I saw you.
Amanda fucking Plummer. She's genius. She's genius. Do you want me to tell the story of that?
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
All right. So what happened was, one of the things that I always do as when I started out as an actor, and I always tell students to do, but certainly actors, at the very beginning, so you go around to a college and you stick, this is the old days, you stick your name and a number up on the board if you didn't have an agent or whatever, and say actor available, for whatever. And so we would end up doing student films, and it was the thing that I carried on doing. And I loved working with students and people who hadn't made it, trying to get a film off the ground. So I was approached by someone who was still at the AFI or something like that. I don't know how it went down, but he was doing a tiny little film, and it was with this one. With Amanda. I was like, yep, you're on. And I'd met her in London, standing outside a pub by a theatre that I was performing at 1 million years ago. And I worked with her. We had a great time working together on this little short student film, whatever it was, or little short film. And that was that. And then we stayed friends and spent time with each other and, hanging out and trying to get work and all of those things. It was... She went off to do Fisher King, which I really liked. But come the premiere of Fisher King, we'd already done Reservoir Dogs. Me and Quentin, I was living in a tiny little flat in Hollywood. And so, but when the premiere is a big premiere of Fisher King came along, I thought, fuck, this is going to be a mess. So I said to Amanda, can I be your date for the movie? She went, yeah. I said, great. So get the car to come to my place first. So we did that, did all the arranging of it and everything. So get it to come over, pick me up, and I'll come around. I'll get you, and then we'll go to the cinema. It was a big, one of the big ones. So they come to me, and I put a suit on, like Trina here. I know what to do. And So I'm ready. We get in the car. We go around to her place. Of course, she's forgotten about it. It's the premiere. But she'd gone through something very traumatic recently with some people had broken into her house and threatened to kill her and all of this stuff. So she had, and to kill her cat, by the way. And so she'd had an issue. So she was having a bit of that time. So we threw her into a dress, threw her into the car, and went off to the premiere. And there was Terry Gilliam, who's an absolute fucking angel. And Quentin was standing there after the film. We saw the film, which was wonderful. And me and Quentin and Amanda and Terry Gilliam standing in a corner somewhere having a beer. And I introduced Amanda to Quentin and said, listen, I want to do another fucking film with you, but on one condition. You have to write a part for Amanda in your film, but that character has to have a gun in her hand. And he was like, holy shit. And then he went away and wrote, because the idea of Amanda Plummer with a gun is terrifying. And then when I watch it and what she's doing there, the stuff that she's sliding in, the looks and the smile in the eyes and it's incredible.
It's pure genius,
and
really.
When you get Quentin's stuff, it's the dialogue is just there. You know, all the improvisation is done for you. He's nailed it, but it connects. It speaks to the actor that it's aimed at generally. So it was written for me, and that was written for her, and she got it. And she's killer in it.
There is a music in Tarantino's film. Do you feel that as an actor? Do you think that he writes for you and you feel the music, the musicality?
Yeah, sometimes. What's interesting is when there were a couple of times when I couldn't do the film and he'd written for me. And then although it's hard to bring yourself to watch it initially, you always get carried away. But when you see an actor who's taking that role, who it wasn't written for, and you watch them find it, it's really amazing. But generally he writes, he knows the rhythms and the weaknesses and plays to them sometimes. So you gotta really work your ass off when you work with Quentin. But it's just fits like a glove.
Does he really say, "Give me what I wrote"? Does he really say, "Give me what I wrote" sometime?
Yeah, I mean, that happens, but you generally are doing it. It's, one of the things that's fun with A Hateful Eight, which I have seen, is, because it's Quentin, is there are a couple of moments when I can hear it and no one else can, because I was there. I can hear him laughing. And there was a lot of times where we would do a take and he'd be laughing so up, we got to do it again, because he's just cracking up. And then you have to move him away from the dolly because it's shaking the camera. Because he's having such a great time on set. And we got to go again. And so, I mean, it's just, I got lucky.
I'm curious because you say there's some film of yours you've seen and some you haven't seen. How did you choose?
I stopped a long time ago. I stopped, I would say about 15 plus, maybe more. And I stopped because I started seeing the mistakes in the films and started to focus on them when I was watching them, when I was in them. And I was like, what's the point of that? So I stopped doing that. Once I'm done, it's over to you guys and it's for you. I think that's okay. It is for me. I've broken it a couple of times. There's a director that I work with, Michel Franco, who I produce with, and there was a film I did called Chronic where I played a nurse, and I wanted to be sure that I got the nursing right. So I wanted to see that. And the way he plays with the frame is of secondary interest, but it is of interest. But generally, no, I don't. But there are a couple of times when I've been like tempted to. This one that I'm here with now, I think I will probably watch, just only because of what I went through on a personal level, and I want to see if because we did it before it got difficult for me. and so on the grieving front for my son. So I want to see if what we shot matches what I feel as a civilian and not as an actor. Be very interested to see how that plays out.
Yeah, I can understand that. And it might be painful, but I can understand.
To see if it comes close to actually how it feels for me. So, yeah.
Wow. Let's talk about something more funny. Okay. You were nominated for an Academy Award.
Oh, yes.
How was that? I remember. Tell me about Samuel Jackson.
Oh, Christ,
I love this story.
So, I got nominated for an Oscar. First of all, it was a film that I thought I was going to get fired from.
Again?
Oh yeah, full on. I called my agent. I hadn't been in America long, and I got this film to shoot in Scotland. It's Rob Roy, and it's a difficult film because it's sword fight and all that. And I was playing a fop, all of these things, right? But I had this weird thing in my mind that I wanted him to be incredibly flamboyant until the wig comes off. And then you reveal the monster, the skinhead underneath, right? Neo-fascist. So I went over the top, and the director was very happy for me to, apparently. But I thought I was going to get fired. I thought when the Americans see the Rush is back, the Daily's back, they're going to fire me. So I was calling my agent and saying, you better find me another fucking job because they're going to fire me off this one. I really thought that for real. It went the other way, and I got nominated, which was hilarious. Oscar thing is weird. I got the BAFTA for it. It wasn't as heavy in the British tabloid world than it was. The American stuff was weird. You are jammed. You it's nonstop, 24/7. Press, constant. You know, they work your ass off. Anyway, it all comes to the night when it either pays off for the company that's paid for all that stuff or not. You either win or you don't. And so I'm sitting in the audience. I just met Bruce Springsteen. Awesome. So I'd won. And who else was there? Whoopi Goldberg and all of that. It was kind of fun. And so I'm sitting there, the lights are about to go down, and it was for a supporting actor thing, and one of the things that it's over pretty quickly for the supporting, that's announced pretty quick. So I was done. So just before the lights go down, I've got Quentin and Sam Jackson sitting right in front of me. It's a full house. Lights go down. It's back when the Oscars really was a sort of type event. And just before it goes dark, before it's about to start, before mine's about to be announced, Sam Jackson turns back and looks at me and goes, Tim, now, when you lose, say, motherfucker. And I was like, what? Lights go down. I lost, and I didn't say it. And I've regretted that for all of my career because it was such smart advice, because they have that thing on the TV screen where all of the contestants are in the blocks there. And it would have been, and the winner is, and just me going, motherfucker, cut. And that would have been my Oscar. But as an actor, I didn't know how to take direction from Sam. So I missed my opportunity, but it was fucking hilarious. I mean, it's only Sam, right? Sam, he's a genius.
Sam's a man.
I love him to bits, yeah.
Yeah, I love him.
And then Quentin laughing. And then actually, I do remember he looked back and rolled his eyes at me and we carried on.
Well, now we're going to give, time to the floor.
Your turn.
It's your turn, guys. So please go ahead. Do you have any questions? Voilà.
Good luck.
It's your turn.
Hi, I'm Natalie. I used to be a punk in the 80s.
You were post-punk. We were punk in the 70s. We're way...
That's all right.
Way over that, yeah.
Of course, I watched Made in Britain and, Trevor. I mean, I always dreamt I'd call you Trevor one day, and here we go, Trevor. And my question is, It was for me more of a punk in his head than a skinhead, because skinheads are really not very clever in general. And I always wondered.
Could argue with you about that.
Yeah, sure. I've got time.
There's some smart fascists about. Yeah.
Yeah, too smart sometimes. My question is, actually, it's a question I asked myself when I was 15, is, honestly, did you have it in you, that hatred for the system, or did you make it all up, because you were so credible?
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely in the script. That what is interesting about that character also is he knew how to play it. I mean, in the limited arena that he found himself in, he could fuck them up. He was so smart. But yeah, I think because of my father and my mother, we grew up in a very left-wing household. My father was an American slum dweller. He was in Brooklyn in Sheepshead Bay, and he was in the slums, and Irish family, and so Irish and I guess English heritage. So they eventually pre-war came over to look for work in Britain. My father was put to work in the brick factories in Liverpool when he was a little kid, when he was probably at that point about 11. They would put him to work in the factories. And then he was an abused kid, and he went to his father and said, "We're going to police if you don't get us the fuck out of this factory," and all of this kind of stuff. Moved him down to the Putnam hop fields in Kent, and then the war came along, and that was the great escape for him. So he did the war, educated himself politically and in general, because he had no education, taught himself Italian, survived the whole war, became a journalist, and also a member of the Communist Party and the Labour Party, depending on whether they were right-wing or not at the time, and did all of that stuff. So we were brought up in a very left-wing and a left-wing household, but where politics and where politicians were discussed and talked about very often. When the grown-ups were doing that, we were listening. And so it was in there, how they would play society. My father always warned that it was coming. I mean, that part of it was over. The Nazi version of it, 39, 45, was over, but it will come. And he said it will always go to America. It will aim at America. And that was where, and, proof's in the pudding. So it was always a thing that was in our house. Politics was always in our house. And I ended up with Paul Weller doing a thing called Red Wedge. We were school kids against the Nazis. We were going on demonstrations. We were, running battles in Trafalgar Square, all of that stuff. It was always a thing that we had. So that long story short, when I saw that script, I could see it. I could see myself, that element. They didn't make the mistake of making him stupid. They were clever, and that's what set that film apart. Unfortunately, he used his intelligence. He went down the racist road because he thought he could get the most reaction from it. Whether he believed in it or not, I have no idea. But that was the most useful road to go down. But I recognized with the kids at school, and also in that script and in my house, elements of that character. And I didn't know what was coming when it was released. I had no idea what was coming my way when that happened. Yeah. I don't know if that answered your fucking question at all. I apologize for my language.
Excuse my French.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's the one, yeah. Never mind. You told me a story earlier. Okay.
D'autres questions? Other questions, please?
Hi, Tim. Phil. I'm from Liverpool.
Oh, Christ.
Oh, God. I think I even know the name of the family who owned the brick factory, actually.
Yeah, you know what? I often go to whenever I'm driving around up there or walking around up there, I look at the red bricks and I think, oh my God, I wonder if my dad made those.
He may well have done.
He may well have done, yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to lead, I'm a screenwriter, by the way.
Give us a job.
Lead on from the, sorry?
I said, give us a job.
Anytime, it would be my honor. No, I just want to lead on from the last question. And you do pretty diverse work. I can understand the skinhead thing and everything else. I understand your upbringing and so on a little bit. But are you a blank canvas? Or
what do you mean by that?
Is your best work based on everything that's brought you to where you are today? You know, your upbringing, your family, the Brooklyn stuff and everything else. I think your name was changed from Smith to Roth and all of those things that make us who we are. Or are you a blank canvas? You know, your character in The Hateful Eight is completely different to Made in England. Yeah.
I don't know.
Are you that?
I think it's a hard one to answer, I suppose. I didn't come to it with an agenda. It weirdly found me. Is the way I think of the acting shenanigans. I'm really not sure. That's a difficult one. Fucking writers are a pain in the ass. It's true.
Oh, go on, answer it.
No, I don't think I am. I would say you come to it with your history and with your background, and you bring that into you try and get rid of it quite often and use bits that are you think possibly can apply to that specific character, you know. And I think there's a little bit of, sometimes there's what you'll see in Hateful Eight, for example, is making fun of posh people. Mm-hmm. And I'd done that with Quentin in previous conversations, so he wrote to it. And of course he can. The same kind of thing could be said for Rob Roy. I'm trying to think of a good example of it, but no, I think basically, no, I think, no, I don't think, I suppose the answer would be, I don't think it's possible to be a blank canvas in the end. I think you bring everything with you and you try and pare away what you don't need. I think it would be the thing.
Yeah. Thanks for that.
Cheers, mate. Go Liverpool.
Liverpool.
Hi, Tim.
Where are you? Oh, yeah.
Here in the back. Hi.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Emil, a filmmaker from Luxembourg, and I know you touched on it before briefly, and also last night at the premiere of Poison. But I was wondering whether you would like to elaborate a little more on working with first-time directors.
Yeah, it's something. I mean, the term first-time director was coined to me as opposed to it's something that I even thought about. I just work with directors, you know, but it became a thing. I think a lot of it had to do with the Quentin thing, you know, the idea that a film can be made that he was a first-time filmmaker. In his head, he wasn't, but his first time on set. But I don't. It's never something that features with me. It's never something that. I know some people who are very wary of working with first-time filmmakers. That's fucking crazy to me. The idea that you would, through your own fears and maybe snobbery, avoid working with a whole section of filmmakers is insane. So it's interesting. I suppose I worked with James Gray. I think that was his second film, or it could have been his first feature. Quentin's first. Desiree's first. I've done loads of it. It's not that it's their first. I'm just interested to see if what their idea of coming prepared looks like. because it's going to be very different. And quite often it's 15 years in the making, wanting to make this one script, wanting to tell this one story. And it's, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. More often, I think that energy is a good energy to be around. I've worked with filmmakers who have made many films and are shite. Just maybe it was a bad chemistry between me and that person. I don't know. Probably. You never know. So when you roll up, I generally come unguarded and I treat everyone the same. It's my feeling. I don't tiptoe around a first-time director. I help if they want it. Otherwise, I go about my business. Does that make sense? Cool.
Hi.
Hiya.
Duncan here. I was one of the few lucky ones who got to see Metamorphosis.
Oh, shit. That's hilarious.
And it was one of the most physically amazing performances I've ever seen on stage.
Thank you.
I mean, you were crawling around that climbing frame.
The weird frame, yeah.
I mean, you've said the experience was a bit of a shock for you. But is there anything that you took from that and from working with Steven Berkoff that you brought into your career? Because it was quite early in your career.
Yeah, it was very early. I remember being sort of knocked sideways by I'd done a TV series. Well, we call it a 4-part thing, very, very left-wing thing about a guy who helped squat immigrant families in London in the East End. It's called King of the Ghetto. We knocked it out there. And I'd done that, and there was this thing back in those days where there was a TV show in Britain where a group of people in the arts would watch something on TV and then criticize it on live TV. And I would never bother watching it. I didn't give a toss back then, except Steven Berkoff was going to be reviewing this show that I was in. And I was like, oh, fuck. Oh, Christ. Because Steven's, quite a wild guy, is. So, and I was a fan of Decadence. I was a fan of East and West, his plays. I thought they were extraordinary. And I'd been to see them and I really wanted to work with him, but it never come my way. So I've turned on the TV, and because it was like that in those days, and on comes this show, and he gives me a bad review. Like, oh, fuck. Ah, shit. And I was like, bang. Okay, well, next day I get a call from my agent going, Steven Berkoff wants to meet with you about a play. It's like, what the fuck? So I get on the bus and I go into the West End because he lived in Poshland. And he wants to meet me. I think it was the Waldorf Hotel, right? It's just him taking the piss. And there I go to a table. I'm shown to a table. It's on this old balcony thing, and there's tea laid out and all that stuff. And there's Steven sitting there. And immediately he just puts the script down and says, I want you to do this play. Go away and read it and let me know. And I have a cup of tea, fuck off, get on the bus, read it. And I knew the book, but I didn't know the play. And I knew that he'd done it all over the world. And I read it and I thought, how is this even possible? What? And I called him and said, and he said, don't ask me the how, just say yes or no. And I said, you're on, that was it. And we did it. And it was, I think we did it for about 13, 14 weeks. I had to go to a chiropractor quite often. Well, that was the thing I did. That was my fault. Because I would try, I don't have to explain this, but there was a frame on stage and I would be scurrying around as an insect. I could climb up this frame, spin around on top. And there's a moment where Gregor's got an apple stuck in his back in the book and all of that stuff. And he's hanging, he's talking back over his back to the audience, upside down. And then I would just do this release and drop. And it was supposed to be from here. And then I would work it up to the next level and the next level, purely because it would make the audience jump out of their seats. And I got a kick out of that because I'm a twat. So I did it, and eventually it became a thing. And there was no padding. There was a little bit of give, but that was it. And so I spent a lot of time in the doctors. But loved it. I mean, really, Saskia Reeves was in it. Linda Marlowe. It was Gary Olsen. There was such a good cast, and we would go out. This is my last time in the theatre in Britain. There would be word coming from downstairs. It's like, David Bowie's down here. It was like that, because it wasn't a fancy theatre particularly, was it? It was the Mermaid, right? I don't even know if it's there anymore. And then would be, was it Jeff Goldblum was there? Or, all these people. Then Charlie Richardson, the villain, showed up with all his Russian henchmen. That was interesting. Wanting me to play the story of his life. Said no. Bob Hoskins was terrified. He was at the bar going, they think it's fucking real. I'm an actor. Yeah, it was scary. Anyway, I'm sorry. It was, anyway. Long story short, that's where I thought I cut it off, doing the play. I loved doing it. Absolutely loved it. And I thought I'll go out on this and I'll stop. And then did just the one more in New York and called it quits up there. But yeah, loved every second of it. Really tough. With Berkoff on stage, it's tough. He would do a thing where he said, I'm going to try and leave the longest pause ever in theatrical history on stage tonight. We go for it. And he would. And it would get longer every night. It was such fun. Had a complete blast with him. I don't know if that answers any of it.
Hello.
Hi.
So just to know, looking back at your career, is there a specific role that you would have played differently when you're looking at now?
Fucking hell, I don't know. Actually. That's a tricky one. There would be a few, although you can't, because it's all domino effect, there'd be a few that I wouldn't play. 100%. I think you all know who they are. Differently. No, I don't know. That's a fucking difficult question. There are a few that we go, it would be interesting to see that played differently, to experience that. But no, I don't think so. I think you are what you are. You throw yourself at it, and then it either works or it doesn't. I mean, and that's a judgment of people seeing it through different eyes. So I don't think so. No, I mean, I know when I've been bad in stuff. I really do. But I think when you're bad in things, sometimes that experience is worth living. I think that's how you learn. And so, I mean, you've got to put the audiences through it. Sorry about that. But that being said, I think that it's all part of the same plate. You go with that stuff. Yeah. So no, I mean, I think I just live with it and apologize as I go. It's funny because the people upstairs don't get to answer any questions. It's like you've been censored. I like that. It's kind of fascistic. Oh, protest from the gallery. Yeah, go for it. There are actors that I'd like to work with. Yeah, I think, I'd love to work with Cate Blanchett. I'd love to do, I've had a couple of shots at comedy. I think it's kind of interesting, that world. I think it'd be, because talk about failure. If you can't make people laugh and you're doing a comedy, game over. So I think that'd be kind of fun. But yeah, just generally, I mean, as actors I'd like to work with, directors I'd like to work with. My feeling is you go until you fall over, and but sometimes it's decided for you. You know, if they don't want to, if no one's interested anymore, then the jobs dry up. But generally, I just keep going. I just keep at it. Yeah. Well, you never know, right? It might be awful.
Hey, Tim, this is Johnny. Following on from that question, in terms of comedy, were you quite apprehensive when you made 4 Rooms? Come on.
Well, anyone who's seen 4 Rooms, I think, smokes a lot of weed.
Right.
Because it's a stoner movie.
Absolutely. Yeah,
total stoner movie.
Maybe when I saw it.
Yeah. You've got to be, really, haven't you?
Sure.
I don't know how it... I'll tell you how it happened. Steve Buscemi. Steve was going to play that role, and then he couldn't do it. He had a real job to do. So they got me in, and I wasn't apprehensive at all. I thought it was kind of interesting because I knew Quentin was doing it, and Quentin had talked to me about it, and then I was interested in the other directors too. Alison, Alex, and Roberto. At the end, I always thought he was fascinating. I'd like to have worked with him better, Rodriguez, but I wasn't apprehensive about it. I didn't know what I was going to do. I was pretty judgmental of the scripts, but you deal with that at the time, and then you start reworking and playing around, and they were free with that. But I didn't figure out the character until Madonna came on set. We were doing it's true actually. I mean, we'd done a bit of rehearsal, and she was late a couple of times, and I told her off, and she was all right with it, and we got on really well. So there was a scene where her character had come, which was like first couple of days of filming, and I'm just sitting there, and her character comes into the hotel to check in, and then it was a cut, and suddenly she's in front of me, and my character reacts to that magic of her coming across. We did that, and I jumped up onto the back of my seat. I did it all it did that thing, and it got the crew laughing. I thought, well, that's it. And that move came from Jaws. When I was a kid and I went to see Jaws, when the head floated across the hole in the boat, I literally found myself sitting on the top of the chair. So I used that. So that's where the character came from. And it was basically a mix between Bugs Bunny and Jimmy Cagney was what I kept in my mind of doing that. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was terrible. I did see that one, and I was like, oh my God, I was so embarrassed. Everyone else was having a fucking great time. So they're all stoned. But I was incredibly embarrassed, and then stopped being when I saw Kathy Griffin laughing. That was enough for me. She's pretty awesome. Yeah, we had a great time. It was wild shoot, but yeah, it was a good one.
Donc la dernière question, ça va être pour qui?
Uh-oh.
Last question.
I'm the lucky one. So politics seems to be a big thing for your life. What is a political idea or the political ideology of the person who gives you a script a consideration for you to pick a film or to reject a film? And because you seem to mention, like in your youth, I did this left-wing thing. So in your youth, it seems to me that it was a consideration. Has it changed? Do you distinguish the two things? And given the political situation now, is it something that you would do more? You would pick a film because you need a message to be told? Or it's two different things for you? Thank you.
I don't get asked by fascists much to be in their films. Weird. They don't come to me. So there's that. It's not something that's uppermost. It is just there. I just did a film last year. We shot in Croatia about the war out there, and it was it was really, it's a tough little indie movie, hard for them to get made, and we did it with a little boy and all of this stuff. And but my questions to them straight away was before I come out, I said pro Ukraine or pro Putin, and they said Ukraine. I said, okay, I'll see you there. And those kinds of things do come up. You have to bear that in mind. You don't want to be a propaganda unit for the ones that don't need you. I don't know if that made any sense. But it's around. There are a couple of films that I'm working on at the moment that are coming up that are very political. And there's one in particular that, and I won't say because it's being written right now, but we're moving it ahead of the game because we feel that it needs to be said now. With the current climate, with what's happening in America, what's happening around Europe, and so on. So we're pushing that one to the front as much as we can. So yeah, it does definitely. It's part of my upbringing. It's part of my life. Obviously, it's like all of our lives. And if a project that comes to me that has a political take on the, or a message to say, it doesn't get kicked out because it does. I'm just interested to find out what that message is and see if the character's any good and push on down that road. Yeah. Does that make any sense? Cool.
Well, it's time to say goodbye and thank you to Tim. Thank you very so much,
guys.
Tim.
Thank you so much.